Join the conversation online and be a part of WCTC's real-time talk. Like 1450 WCTC on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at 1450 WCTC. Jersey Central with Bert Barron.
Think we could listen to the radio or something?
On the new Talk Radio 1450 WCTC.
7:08, welcome to hour number 2 of Jersey Central on the new Talk Radio 1450 WCTC, the voice of Central Jersey. Good morning to you. It is Bert. We'll get up to the 60s today with some sunshine. Nice day coming up. Traffic and weather update at 7:15. Let's get to the Jersey Central Newsmaker Hotline. I want to welcome in my special guest. He is a member of the Life Sciences Group, and he's also the co-chair of Mandelbaum Salzburg's Healthcare Group. He is an attorney, and he's here with us this morning to talk about the recent GOP bill. It was passed to repeal and replace large portions of Obamacare, and he's with us here this morning to talk about some of these aspects of this bill, which are of significant importance. So I want to welcome Mohammed Nabulsi in this morning to Jersey Central. Mohammed, good morning. It's Bert Barron. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing well.
I appreciate your time this morning because with all the things that are going on now with the FBI director being fired yesterday, the national discussion is going to sort of focus away from what's going on with health care, and this is all we're going to hear about for the next several weeks. So I think the timing of having you with us here is important because I think it remains important that health care stay in the national dialogue. So I want to thank you so much for making yourself available this morning. And also, what's more important to me, Mohammed, is should I or my wife get sick is much more important than who's running the FBI personally. So that's why I think having you with us today is of critical importance. The big thing that has to go on with this is the debate back and forth between pre-existing conditions. This latest bill that was introduced, Mohammed, talk about how pre-existing conditions will be handled.
Well, the bill superficially would continue the protections of pre-existing conditions. However, the reality is that insurance companies will be able to substantially increase premiums. And as such, the bill would make it prohibitive for many Americans to afford plans that would cover pre-existing conditions. So it's really an empty promise. It's illusory at best, and it's just an attempt to mask the true impact of the bill, from the public.
So it's kind of like, well, you know what, pre-existing conditions will still be taken into consideration, but just not as well as they were under the previous plan. Is that kind of what they're trying to say?
Yes, and it's going to be prohibitive because insurance companies, whenever they can, they will increase premiums. They insure people based on risk. And when you're dealing with an insured who has a pre-existing condition, the insurance company knows that it's going to have to pay a lot for that patient's medical care. So with the bill in effect, it would the insurance company would be able to adjust their premiums to reflect that risk, and therefore there's no cap on the amount that the insurance company may charge, and that would result in exorbitant premiums. And for many Americans, it's not possible to afford these kinds of premiums.
Talk to the people, if you would, Mohammed, about Medicaid and how critical federal funding for Medicaid is, because there would also be some changes with regards to how that's handled. Talk about why that's such an important component of this.
Absolutely. For many Americans who are impoverished, who are medically underserved, Medicaid is the only way that they're able to afford health care. Medicaid plans under Obamacare have proliferated because of the expansion of Medicaid. And if the federal government cuts its funding for Medicaid now, and if states could opt out of the Medicaid expansion, what happens is that now a lot of these patients who qualify for Medicaid under Obamacare will no longer qualify for Medicaid, will no longer have the ability to access Medicaid products, and those patients will be without health care, and they may end up resorting back to charity care, which is the program for hospitals who treat patients who are not insured. So I think it's a significant erosion of human rights, I think. This Medicaid expansion I thought was a really good idea under Obamacare, and it has resulted in many more Americans being able to treat with their physicians more regularly so they could afford that emergency room visit. With that now being affected, we're likely to have many more Americans reporting to the ER for conditions that could have been addressed a lot sooner and for a lot less money.
It seems like this new bill also, Mohammed, is kind of redefining the essential health benefits phrase and what exactly that encompassed. It seems like now certain things that were covered before will either be not covered or reduced coverage. And it seems like hospitalization, prescription drugs, things that we think of as just being basic day-to-day survival things are going to be greatly impacted as well. Is that correct?
Yes, this is really a travesty, if you really think about it, that an insurance company could sell a product purporting to provide health care, but the product does not provide for certain basic coverages, hospital coverages, pregnancy-related coverages. It doesn't make any sense. You cannot have a health care plan that does not cover these basic needs. And under the bill, insurance companies and states actually could opt out of requiring the insurance companies to cover these essential health benefits. And what's going to end up happening is that insurance companies are going to create these products that are not worth the paper they're written on, and they're going to sell them to hapless Americans who may not necessarily understand them. They're going to make money off these products, but we're going to end up in the same situation. We're going to end up with people who purchase these products because that's the only product that they can afford, ended up in their emergency room. Hospitals have to cover under charity care, and it's just going to be costlier for Americans in the long run, and our deficit is going to increase because of the fact that we're going to be subsidizing this care in other ways.
Man, a couple of other components of this I'd like to cover before we wrap up. Talk about the impact on tax credits and subsidies. What's the future hold for them?
Well, the tax credits are being continued, and the subsidies are being continued. So that piece of it is staying. The premium tax credit, what that is a federal government subsidy to allow low or moderate income individuals or families to purchase healthcare insurance. It's being reworked under the bill, so it's now based on age, with a maximum tax credit of $4,000 for individuals over 60 years old. So that part of it is staying, but I think the other components really swallow up and overshadow the benefits of this.
Will we see perhaps more popularity in things like HSAs, the savings accounts, and the health flexible spending accounts, which, by the way, Mohammed, I think people are kind of lulled into a false sense of security with an HSA. It's your money in the first place. It's not like someone is giving you additional money to pay for prescriptions and for healthcare needs. HSA is already your money to start with. It's just another savings account that's created with your money that you already have to just pay for, incidentals for medical treatment and whatnot. Will we see an expansion of those if this bill goes through?
That's exactly right. So what's happening under the new health care bill is that the annual contribution limitations for HSAs is now completely eliminated, and the annual contribution limit for HSA accounts have been significantly increased to $6,550 for an individual and $13,100 for a family. So those are remaining, but again, you're right in the sense that it's your money, so that's not really a new feature.
Yeah, I don't really see what too much of the benefit there is. Now, this bill, Mohammed, this is going to have a tough fight in the Senate, and there's a lot of senators who are digging in their heels, and they're going to want sweeping changes before they approve any of this. What do you think is the next step in this? Is this going to bomb out in the Senate and have to go back to square one? What's the future of this bill?
I think that the Senate has divided into subgroups to rewrite the bill, their own version of repeal and replace Obamacare. And you're likely to see a completely new version of the bill, and one that does not include many of the components of the House bill. So I think what's going to happen is, in order for it to pass the Senate, it's going to have to be a lot more moderate in some ways, but also more extreme in other ways to accommodate certain special interest groups who would like the bill to do more to repeal Obamacare.
And who knows when we're even going to get to that point, because now with all the stuff going on with the FBI and what's blowing up with there, everybody's focus is now squarely on that, Mohammed. I think we need to reel it back in and get back and focusing on health care, which impacts a great number of people.
I agree, and one of the benefits to being the president of the United States is that you have the ability to, shape public perception and the focus. So the timing of the firing of the FBI director is to me suspect, and it's designed to divert from what's going on in healthcare, so that the truth behind what's in the bill does not come out and resonate with the public and generate opposition on the Senate side. But I don't think that's going to work. I think Americans are a lot more alert about their fate in terms of health care, so I think they'll continue to follow that. But I agree that the public really should be, the focus should be focused on health care currently and not what's going on with the FBI and the Russia scandal.
Sure. As we wrap up here, where can someone get more information on Life Sciences Group or the healthcare group that you represent, Mohammed?
They can Google Mandelbaum Salzburg. It's a law firm in New Jersey. We have locations as well in New York and Florida. So the name of the firm is Mandelbaum Salzburg.
Excellent. Mohammed Bulsi, Esquire, thank you for your time and input, and I'd love to have you come back on as if and when we get back to the table and dealing with healthcare in the United States here. I'd love to have you come back on and give me your commentary in the future if we could do that.
It would be my pleasure.
All right. Thank you. Have a great day. All right. Mohammed Bulsi, my guest here on Jersey Central.